last time that idiot Trump was there, he totally wrecked the farming industry. Soybeans, other crops. China was buying that stuff from us, but his tariff war just crushed farmers. So what ended up happening, American taxpayers footed the $25 billion bailout of these farmers. You had dairy farmers in Wisconsin, farmers in Iowa, in Illinois, who were losing their family farms. And you know what? Some of the people are so stupid. I remember reading this one story. This one guy said, yeah, he lost a family farm, but you know what? He would vote for Trump again. I'm like, y'all have got to be stuck on stupid. So guess what? Red states. Arkansas, oh my God, these farmers are crying. Nebraska, the governor called Trump, said, please stop your ICE raids because we're losing GDP in Nebraska. You've got folks in distilleries, whiskey distilleries in Kentucky filing for bankruptcy. Why? Well, because after Trump pissed off the Canadians, they stopped buying American whiskey. So you got $500 million worth of whiskey sitting in warehouses. So this thing is happening all around the country. But over the weekend, y'all, I got a huge kick out of listening to these crying and whining Arkansas farmers. These are the people that voted for Trump in a huge way. Now they're like, oh my God, we need help or we're going to lose everything. Y'all got the video? Roll it.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the 7th generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Well, Christopher, all I have for my thoughts and prayers, maybe they should go talk to their governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who used to lie for Donald Trump. And so he's to blame. So I don't want to hear anything. And isn't it amazing? They don't believe in socialism, but now they want a bailout because Donald Trump's tariffs are destroying their family farms.
Yeah, and you know what? This is nothing new. The farming industry has been bailed out plenty of times before, but now they have the person that they've always wanted, and they thought that Donald Trump is going to bring them to the promised land, and he has. And guess what? There's nothing there. They are a brutal thing. But what I'm mostly worried about is none of them have directly said, hey, I'm not voting for Donald Trump next time. I don't know if people actually really do deal with this type of situation. And it gets to me, to my core, about how messaging with Republicans happen. Every modern day Republican has actually added on to the deficit, while every modern day Democrat president has taken the deficit down. We're going back to the original George Bush, adding to the deficit. President Bill Clinton, decreasing the deficit. George W. Bush definitely added on to the deficit by hundreds of millions. Barack Obama steadied it and actually decreased our deficit again. And then you come up with Donald Trump, who is the president who has added to our deficit the most out of any other president ever imagined, with $3.2 trillion. Then you followed up by our next president, who actually decreased it. And now you have Donald Trump, who's going to increase it, and he's going to actually beat his own record with this new bill. And farmers, again, they want to keep this. The generations that they have done to feed America have had this happen. They're just voting for the wrong person. What is it going to take for them to wake up?
Well, AD, I'm just laughing because, again, hey, this is who they wanted. This is their guy. You know, and this is where I said Democrats, they should go to these broke white folks and say, I'm sorry, this is what y'all wanted. Y'all voted for this. So I'm telling you right now, no Democrat should vote to bail these folks out because they got exactly what they voted for.
Word. So on the one hand, it's like, yeah, thoughts and prayers, but it is also, I think it's not as funny to me as it is telling, because it feels as though these folks don't see the gap between the logic between wanting this particular kind of representation that Donald Trump represents and them losing everything that they've worked for, or they don't make a connection between the thing that we might describe as socialism and them asking Donald Trump for a bailout. And so either way, it's telling that the political engagement and investments that we have don't really correspond to the reality that we're living in. And yeah, so that makes me understand that, of course, these people aren't going to talk about not voting for Trump again, because I don't know that they're connecting what's happening to them to Trump being the guy who is making the calls at this particular point, unfortunately.
Well, I just, Ome Congo, the thing for me is, I saw this video here. Y'all, let me know where y'all have it. This former Republican congressman was just crowing about, oh, my God, he owns distilleries and they've got a 50% tariff notice for glass. We're trying to figure out what to do. I mean, this is what you wanted. I literally, I'm sorry. I don't have any sympathy. None. I have no sympathy. I have no empathy. I don't care. I am unbothered. I'm unbothered about their feelings. I just am. Roll this video. Check this out.
You know, there's even personal examples. You know, I own distilleries, not only AI companies, but I own distilleries. But we just got a 50% tariff notice for glass and some of the other things that we use to do bottling on our lines. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been trying to figure out what do you do, right? Do you actually raise prices? Do we limit production? What do we do with bottles? Do we forward lean and get more bottles, right? When I talk about pallets, I'm talking thousands and thousands of dollars in added costs for our companies. I can't imagine what it's doing to larger manufacturers if you go downstream on tariffs. The economy is the single biggest thing here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I can tell you that, especially with the job losses up north with government jobs and contractor jobs, and you're seeing sort of these arbitrary cuts coming down right through DOGE and through other mechanisms. So for right now, I think the economy is not in a great place. If you look at the revised June numbers going down, only 22,000 jobs added this month. The messaging, I think, from Democrats and independents could be simply, this is a failed experiment in the first 8 months, and there has to be a course correction.
Ome Congo, I don't give a shit if all of their businesses shut down.
Well, if that's what it's going to take for them to wake up and smell the coffee or smell the crops or whatever it is, then it looks like it's going to have to be so be it, because none of these guys seem to have a plan to do anything counter to Trump. And the reason why I care is because whenever many of these folks in communities experience downturns, we always suffer more, either directly through violence or through other economic types of issues. And so when I think about these farmers in particular, one of the things I noticed in those videos I was watching over the weekend is that there were no black farmers there. And so when Trump does bail these farmers out, you know what? They're going to go to court to make sure that the black farmers don't get any of it. So again, the inability to think Fred Hampton style in terms of coalition building is what's going to continue to do these guys in. And another thing I'm thinking about is USAID and how Elon Musk, closed that down. And this was one of the main areas where these farming products were actually going. How could these farmers not be mindful enough to know that much of their products that were going around the world were being distributed through USAID? But hey, go cut it, let it go, waste, fraud, and abuse. So like you said, USAID, that would be part of that woke thing that they chose not to do, and they're going broke right now. That lady talked about 5 people committed suicide. I remember in 2018 when the Department of Agriculture was sending notices about what to do about your farm, there was numbers for the suicide hotline attached to those packets as well. This is what he does. And he's like the guy, Trump is like the guy who goes hire somebody to come and try to rob him and his girlfriend so he can beat them up and become the hero. He needs people to depend on him. He needs people to for him to be able to say, I'm your savior, I'm going to be the one to help you. And he picks and chooses who gets that. So even when that bailout comes for them, them. Black farmers ain't going to get it. But now you're talking about these distilleries. You're talking about all these other businesses. Is it still going to be enough for them to say, I am going to vote for the other guy? I'm going to vote for the other party regardless. I am still not convinced, because I even remember World War II when Hitler's soldiers were losing, and some of them to their dying day, or even as they were getting arrested, were still saying Hitler was right. And I feel like so many of them are still brainwashed to this day. So we're going to see a lot more find out moments, Roland.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.